This is part 2 of chapter 6, section 4% of a number, it's titled. So these are problems in which we have to solve for a percent. And so using that proportion is a nice way to do these problems. You can set up an equation as well, but let's go ahead and set up the proportion. So the proportion, I would do this. Remember, we talked about how a number like 60% can be written as a fraction. So 60% is the same thing as 60 over 100. And so from there, what we want to do is, since we're setting up a proportion, is we're going to draw an equal sign and set up another fraction. Well, this word of I talked about in the last lesson tells us the whole. Remember, a percent is a number over 100. That's what it is, number over 100. And there's a couple key words that help us figure out what the part is and what the whole is. So one of those words is of. Of typically tells us what the whole is. The word is, this typically tells us the part. So a quick saying is over of equals the percent over 100. So I wrote that little phrase out for you here. The part represents the is, and the whole represents the of, and it equals a number over 100, or the percent over 100. And so let's take a look at this then. If we want to set this up, we're asking what the part is. They want to know what is the smaller amount, or what is the part that represents this whole of 10. So all you're going to do is cross multiply from this point, 60 times by 10. So we'll set that up over here. 60 times by 10 equals, and we can set up the other part, which is x times by 100. So x times by 100. And so when we go ahead and multiply this stuff out, here's what we get. We've got a 600 equals 100x. So from that point, we can go ahead and do some division. Divide by 100 on both sides. Cancel out those zeros, and we're left with x equals 6. So there it is. So here's question number 29. Again, this is from the textbook. And it says, what number is? So what number is 15% of 30? Again, the of tells us the whole. And so that's going to be the denominator of our fraction. So we can set up 15 as a fraction. 15% is 15 over 100. And we can set that equal to the part, which we don't know. That's what we're looking for, because that is associated with the word is. And they're asking what number that is. So x over 30. And so from that point, all you're doing is cross multiplying. We're multiplying the x times 100, so x times by 100. And setting that equal to 15 times by 30. 15 times by 30. So we go ahead and do that multiplication. Here we have 100x equals, and then 15 times 3 makes 45, and you just add a 0 to the end. So the great thing about dividing by 100 or 10 or 1,000 or any base 10 number is that the decimal point just moves over 2 spaces. So it moves that decimal back 2 spaces, and that just gives us 4 5/10. So there's our number. 25% of 47 is what number? So same sort of thing. It's the percent over 100 equals, and then you have the part, which we're looking for. That's what the is tells us. Is what number? This is our part. The is always tells us the part. Is, and then we have 47 is the of. And so the numbers we're going to multiply are 25 and 47. So off to the side, you might need to multiply those numbers. So kind of big. So let's see what we end up coming up with there. Well, when we multiply 25 and 47, one way you can think about it is quarters. How much money is 47 quarters? When we go ahead and multiply those numbers, we get $11.75. That'd be 1,175 pennies equals 100x. we can go ahead and do that division of 100 on both sides. And again, that just moves the decimal 1, 2 spaces. It goes right there. So 11.75 is what we get. Well, one more problem. This one's going to be a little different because the percent is so large. Look at that percent, 125%. So that means that the whole, is the whole going to be bigger or smaller than the part? Well, let's see what the part is. What the whole is in this case. What of 4,100 is what the whole is. Now, 100% would be exactly 4,100. Anything bigger than 100% is going to be bigger. So we expect this number that we're going to get for x to be larger. So it's one thing you can look at as you're looking at your answer. You can judge the answer by looking at it. Okay, it's 100% plus 25%. So 25% more than this. So we go ahead and cross multiply here. So we've got the 100x equals the 125 times by 4,100. So we can go ahead and do that work there. Still got this 100x equals, and then multiplying these two numbers gives us this. We get 512,500. So 512,500. And so we can go ahead and divide by 100. And we can cancel out these two zeros. Those cancel out, leaving us just with that 5, 1, 2, and 5. So 5,125. Well, let's take a look at this word problem here. We have this person here has ordered a meal and it cost $20.25. So this is a total amount. This is the whole, or the total. Another way to think about it. This is what she's being charged. She wants to leave a tip. A tip is going to be a percentage of this amount. And the tip is 16% of the meal. So the meal's cost is right here. That's what it is. So notice again, you see that word of the meal's cost. The meal's cost is $20.25. So that tells you that's the whole. Well, let's go ahead and set up our proportion. We've got 16 over 100 equals, and then we're going to put our part, which we don't know. It's the tip. We use T for tip this time. And the meal costs $20.25. And so we can go ahead and cross multiply here. 16 times by the 20 and 25 hundredths, and set that equal to 100 times T. So 100t equals, and 16 times by 20 and 25 hundredths. So from that point, we can go ahead and multiply these two numbers. So when we multiply those, we get 324. Actually, get a couple extra zeros here, but we end up having to move that decimal point over 2 spaces, so it ends up making 324. Well, from that point, we're still not done. So we multiplied the percentage, the 16, times that number, but we still need to divide by 100 to come up with the dollar amount we need to give. So that decimal point is right here. We need to move it over 2 spaces. So it's going to go right between the 3 and the 2. So T, the tip, is going to be $3.24. So there it is. There's that one. Well, one more problem to try. This one says the United States Department of Agriculture recommends that women should eat 25 grams of fiber each day. Okay, we're going to need this number, so it's a good thing to underline it. A granola bar provides 9% of that amount. See, there's that key word again, of that amount. What's that amount? It's right here. It's that 25 grams. So how many grams of fiber does it contain? This is the is. This is the part that we're looking for. We want to find out how much is 9% of this number. And so we're going to rewrite this as 9 over 100, that's the percent, equals the part, which we don't know. We'll go ahead and call it x this time. and over the whole, which is 25. So we can go ahead and multiply out some numbers. We got 9 times by 25. And then we'll set that equal to x times by 100. And so when we multiply that 9 and 25, we end up getting 225 equals 100x. So all you have to do from there is just divide by 100. You've got your answer. So again, that just moves the decimal back 2 spaces. So there it is. X equals 2 and 25 hundredths grams. Let's put those units in there since they gave us those units. So there it is. Some answers to some of the problems in the exercises. Good luck on the others.